Good morning and welcome to Morning Scoop for Tuesday, June 14th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Notre Dame game is in 81 days. As a viewer pointed out yesterday, we just skipped from 83 to 81. I may have been off yesterday. It doesn't matter. 81 days today. Of that, I am almost positive. The game against Michigan in 165 days. Summer camp is back later today at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We will have full coverage of all of that a little later on today. But this morning, we're talking recruiting. The Buckeyes had some big-time visitors over the weekend, and we could be close to seeing some new commitments. My guest today is Alex Gleitman. He is the host of the Around the Oval podcast. He has been very busy the last few days talking to some of the guys who just visited Columbus. Alex, thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure, Tom. Big official visit weekend for Ohio State and another one coming up this weekend. So very exciting times on the site.
Yeah, between the camps and all the official visits, June is all of a sudden like high season. This used to be the real quiet time of year, and now all of a sudden this is turned into the busy season. And we're going to start with one of the guys who was one of the visitors last weekend, Austin Novosad. He is the quarterback who earned an offer at camp earlier this month, came back last weekend for an official visit. Now he's still committed to Baylor at the moment, but how did his visit to Columbus go, and sort of where do things stand with him and the Buckeyes right now?
Yeah, I mean, great visit. It's hard to have a bad official visit, but this is his second visit in less than 2 weeks. He was there for the first one-day camp, earned his offer, decided, was unsure what he was going to do, decided to come for an official visit late last week, came Friday to Sunday, brought his whole family up. They got to see everything in a little bit more detail. And, as I said, he had a great time. Now he's got a tough decision to make. It's stick with Baylor. He's from Texas, opportunity to play early there, multi-year starter. I mean, look, Baylor's put guys in the NFL, right? Robert Griffin III, Bryce Petty, probably a few others I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but it's not like they were maybe a win or so away from making the college football playoff last year. So this is not a joke of a program. This is not Ohio State versus and not the Temple or Florida Atlantic is a joke of a program, but this is not that much of a difference, right? So not an easy decision when you've been committed to a place that's been so loyal to you for so long. They offered him before he even had a star next to his name. And I think he's going to take an official visit to Baylor this coming weekend. He's going to sit down with his family, and over that next week and a half after this coming weekend, he's going to come to a decision whether to stick with Baylor or end up flipping to Ohio State. Right now, I probably tend to think he's leaning toward flipping to Ohio State, but let's see how the high of the visit wears off and how the Baylor official visit goes. And as he said to me, he's just going to get a feeling, and he's going to know which place is right for him. So I truly think this is a toss-up. I know a lot of people were all about, hey, this is going to be our quarterback when they offered him, because who wouldn't want to play for Ryan Day? And I think that's the reason Ohio State's actually in this one. But there's a lot of history with Baylor, and there's a great opportunity for him to get on the field early there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Baylor has been a playoff kind of in that playoff picture conversation a few times. Of course, Ohio State in that first 2014, that first college football playoff season, that was Baylor and TCU and Ohio State going into that championship game weekend, and Ohio State needed to beat Wisconsin 59-0 to jump over Baylor and TCU. So yeah, they are not the Baylor of the 1990s where it was the free win on every big I guess then Big 8 or Southwest Conference or Big 12 teams schedule. So that's the quarterback spot. Next up, the younger brother of another big-time quarterback, defensive lineman Mateo Uyangale, whose older brother DJ is the quarterback at Clemson right now. Now, Mateo is a 5-star edge rusher out of St. John Bosco in California. That is, of course, the same program that produced Wyatt Davis a few years back. How did Mateo enjoy his time in Columbus?
I mean, I don't know if anyone follows his dad, Big Dave, but if you followed his dad this weekend, I mean, you would have said this kid's committing to Ohio State tomorrow. But look, they're playing, or at least his dad is playing the game a little bit. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They're enjoying themselves 100% as they should. But I felt Ohio State was the leader coming into the weekend. I think they're the firm leader coming out of the weekend. But USC, Oregon, Alabama, all strong contenders in this one. The Trojans and Ducks are next up for official visits this month. And Alabama, I think, is trying to wait till the fall to get their official visit, because I think this one is going to go into the fall. I think we'll be lucky if honestly, we'll be lucky if this one doesn't go to the second signing day. But we'll be lucky if we hear anything on this front before the first signing day on December 21st. So I'll say don't hold your breath here, but I would say as of June 13th, 14th, I would have Ohio State as the leader.
Yeah, so they've done what they can do to this point, but there's only so much you can do to this point if this is going to go until February. So yes, good news. We'll have more chances to talk about him and more chances for me to pronounce his last name, hopefully correctly, moving all the way through next February. Next up, let's talk about Daniel Harris. He is a cornerback, a 4-star prospect out of Miami. Now, you got a chance to talk to him after his visit. What did he think about Columbus?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great time. This was his first time up. Ever since he got the offer, he's been really high on Ohio State. Finally got to see everything in person, loved everything he saw, really got to bond with Tim Walton, spent some time with Ryan Day. His host was Ryan Turner, who he played against this past season and was an early enrollee this year for Ohio State. So a lot of comfort there, hung out with the cornerbacks, hung out with all the players, things like that. And, again, had a great time. Um, I would say this Ohio State versus Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be really hard to beat. I also think Ohio State, while they like Daniel Harris, they got Dijon Johnson committed. They have Kay and Lee, who I think they have higher on the board. That's a very strong possibility to end up in this class. And then Jermaine Matthews will be visiting this coming weekend out of Winton Woods, who earned an offer last week. And I'd be surprised if he doesn't end up a Buckeye. So are they going to take 4 cornerbacks? I don't know. Daniel Harris is probably going to make a decision end of July, early August, and Ohio State might have 3 cornerbacks committed by then. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I also think, Georgia, even if Ohio State is all in on Daniel Harris, Georgia's got Fran Brown as their DB's coach. He came from Rutgers. He was the first coach to offer Daniel Harris a scholarship. Their relationship goes way back. And now Fran Brown being at Georgia, one of the top schools in the country, not just recently, but historically in producing defensive backs from a Florida kid. I think the Dogs are going to be tough to beat, and they got an official visit this coming weekend.
Yeah, a coach going from Rutgers to Georgia kind of changes that conversation a little bit in terms of competitiveness with Ohio State in recruiting. That definitely changes the dynamic there a little bit. You mentioned they have, could potentially have 3 corners committed by the time he makes his decision. Let's talk about a position where they already have 3 guys committed. That's the offensive line. Let's talk about offensive lineman Miles Walker. They've got the 3 in-state guys committed already. Maybe Luke Montgomery's a tackle. The other 2 guys probably going to end up inside. So we have talked about the fact they're going to need at least another tackle or 2 in this class. One of them might be Miles Walker. He is just a 3-star prospect. He is from the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut. There's a little deep cut for you. But, where does Miles Walker fit in? Is he someone who they, are really seriously looking at right now? I mean, obviously just took an official visit, so he's definitely in that conversation. Is he someone who could be getting close to a decision, and is he someone that, they would be looking at pretty seriously at adding in the class?
Yeah, I mean, as far as coming close to a decision, I would say no. I mean, this whole recruiting thing is really, really new for him. His body completely transformed in the last year. Now he's 6'6", 375. I think he was in the 230s a year ago. So, and maybe 6'3". So this is a kid who's absolutely seen his recruiting blow up. Late bloomer. Had official at Texas A&M the first week, Ohio State week 2. Unknown the rest of the way. I'm sure Penn State will be a big time player for the Connecticut native. I just think that he's just getting started with this process. So I think that there's a little bit of a ways to go. And I think that's good because I think schools are still feeling him out too. I think it was big for Ohio State to get him on campus. They got to know him, got to see him, eye him up close and personal. They like what they saw there. I think they probably have a little bit more digging around to do on him to make sure that, is he a kid we want to push for now? Is he a kid we maybe want to wait and see how the chips fall on the board? But I think by the time Miles Walker takes some visits the rest of this month, has his own slate of comparison to be able to stack up who he likes and who's ahead of who, I think all these schools will kind of know more about their situations and where Miles Walker stands for them as far as being a priority. So I think it was great for Ohio State to get the visit. I think Texas A&M is probably the biggest competition. I wouldn't be shocked if Penn State becomes a big-time player here too. And I think there will be others. Right now this kid, again, new to the process. Every visit he takes seems like the best visit. So let's let him get a slate of comparison. Let's let Ohio State host a few more of their prospects, and let's see where this thing goes.
Those are always fun recruitments where it seems like there's a new leader after every visit. So yeah, those are always fun ones to watch. We'll keep an eye on that one. There were a couple other guys who were here last week and who Alex wrote about in his ADEC column, tight end Riley Williams, linebacker Darian Goulet. You can find the information on their visits in Alex's A-Deck column at Buckeye Scoop. This upcoming weekend, you mentioned that they've got some guys, big names coming in this weekend, including Jermaine Matthews. Lots of visitors, including a pair of big-time wideouts, a couple big-name safeties as well. Is there anyone on that list for this weekend who you'd maybe have on commitment watch? I mean, let's even just say in the next month or so.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Brandon Inniss, Noah Rogers, 2 5-star wide receivers. I think both of them could commit within weeks potentially. So those are 2 I'm watching for sure. Tosin Babalede, offensive lineman. I'm not sure where he stands on the Ohio State pecking order on the offensive line board, but we'll see after this weekend. I think it's a 2-way interview, let's say, getting the big time Maryland product out of DeMatha, where they got Chase Young out of. Getting him to campus is a big first step. So I'd say Inniss and Rogers, and then Jermaine Matthews, who I mentioned before, out of Winton Woods in Cincinnati, cornerback, earned an offer last week. I have him coming to Ohio State. I won't be shocked if it comes shortly after this official visit. Jaden Bonsu, a safety as well, is someone to watch. But I would say Matthews, Inniss, and Rogers are the 3 I would have as most likely in the class at some point, maybe by the end of the month, if not by the end of July.
So it should be those guys. We should have some, potentially some news. I'm guessing Alex will have plenty of reports from their official visits coming up early next week. So we'll probably have Alex on the show again sometime next week to talk about those guys. But later today, we're going to be talking about camp. We'll have Mark and Kevin, and I don't know if Bill's coming down for this one or not, but should have the full Scoop crew out at the Woody Hayes later on today. Always a fun time. We'll probably do some interviews and have lots of photos and videos and all sorts of good stuff from the Woody Hayes. Always a good time. It should be about 1 trillion degrees. So if you've ever wanted to see me sweat, boy howdy, watch tomorrow's Morning Scoop. We'll probably be doing that from the Woody Hayes when it's about 97 degrees and about 90% humidity. So should be a blast. But always fun to get out to camps. So we'll have plenty of good stuff from there. So that'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.